Well, the nights are drawing in and Christmas is rapidly approaching, so I thought I'd jump on the seasonal bandwagon and talk about those films that no one in their right mind would ever even consider watching at any other time of year. Today's film, 1996's Dot and Spot's Christmas Adventure, also known as Dot and Spot's Magical Christmas Adventure, is one of the many hundreds upon hundreds of films that were released at Christmas in the 80s and 90s with an aim to establish themselves as the next Grinch Who Stole Christmas or Frosty the Snowman for a generation. They would try to do this by banking on the long-term nostalgia of this seasonal story to keep kids coming back for more year after year. This is an incredibly short film, clocking in at a rather meagre 22 minutes or so, and I assume it's targeted to very young children, as the plot's incredibly basic and very flat. The film follows Ryan, a little boy who's recently been forced to move out of the city as his dad's got a new job as a forest ranger. As a result, the entire family have relocated to a cabin in the woods with their rescue dogs, Dot and Spot, who are voiced by the absolute royalty that is Debbie Derryberry, who's probably best known for her role as Jimmy Neutron, or her even longer stint as Coco Bandicoot in the Crash Bandicoot games, along with an absolute mountain of additional roles in film and television, and Cam Clarke, probably best known as Leonardo in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, amongst many, many other roles. Anyways, the night before Christmas and the family are settling in when Spot and Dot see Santa in his sleigh appearing to be having some difficulty. They manage to wake up Ryan and his sister, who at first are sceptical of what they've just seen, but decide that it's in their best interest to go and help out if possible. Thus begins a big journey through the snowy mountains to find Santa, help fix his sleigh, and save Christmas before it's too late. Oh, and because it's Christmas Eve, the dogs can talk to the kids. This is a talking dog movie. Kids love talking dog movies.
But Santa, we didn't bring anyone with us.
You brought us.
You talked. Dot talked.
I heard her. At least I think I did.
I've been talking all night. You just wouldn't understand anything we said.
You mean we couldn't?
No, Ryan. All animals can talk on Christmas Eve. It just takes very special ears to really hear them.
All living things can communicate, Ryan. If you just listen with an open heart.
If I just listened? Tonight I think I could do anything. Even magic.
Oh, it's going to take more than magic to make Christmas come true this year.
This won't take magic, just a good toolkit. Where's yours?
One can always make do, especially in the woods.
Also, did I mention that this film is a semi-musical? Because it has at least 2 musical numbers in it as well, which at first I thought would bother me, but as the short ran on I realised there was less than 3 musical numbers in the whole film, which is a bit half-hearted admittedly, but the songs were fairly meh anyway, so small mercies, I think? This short has genuinely been a difficult critique for me. I'd never seen this film until this year when I watched it for this review, and I imagine that quite a lot of the reason to like it stems from that warm, fuzzy feeling you'd get remembering watching this as a kid, and remembering all the fun times you had at Christmas. As I don't have that level of attachment, all I can say is, it's not bad. At least, not by a long shot. But it's no masterpiece. The animation was done by Epoch Inc., who, to anyone who was a kid in the 90s, is most likely known for their work on the Forgotten Till I Just Remembered It series, Mummies Alive. But it's probably best known for producing all of the concept art and eventually even storyboards and cutscenes for the early Crash Bandicoot games on PS1 and 2. They even had quite a bit of an involvement in the character designs for Insomniac Games' original Spyro the Dragon game. So you'd think they'd have a lot of experience in animation, considering this came out right slap bang in the middle of what would be considered their high point. And yet, it just isn't all that impressive. It's not terrible, we're not looking at Worker and Parasite here, but it's all just a bit flat. There's nothing that definitively makes this film stand out from any other film that was out around the same time. The dialogue doesn't match the animation's mouth movements either. I could forgive it if it wasn't spot on a couple of times, but it was actually more of a miracle when the dialogue did sync up. That being said, it's consistent at least to a standard, but still. I mentioned the plot earlier, and when I was researching who had written this film, I ended up on the IMDb page of one Brynne Stephens, who I'd never heard of before this, but who basically had written large swathes of my childhood, with credits in several episodes of He-Man, the 80s Ninja Turtles cartoons, the 90s Spider-Man series, and Batman the Animated Series, to name a few. In short, if you were going to get someone to write a kids' film for you, this would have been the writer. And yet, it's all a bit basic. There's no threat in this film, no suspense, no hook. Ryan and his sister go up to the mountain with the dogs, meet Santa, spoiler alert, fix his sleigh, and then they get a ride back to their house. And that's it. The dialogue isn't even particularly witty, though there is a quite decent running gag about whenever Dot and Spot bark, the humans always assume it means they want to go outside. It's not a great gag, but it's used about the right amount of times for this kind of film. Again, being basic and steady is not a bad thing, but there's no flourish to this. It doesn't really have any kind of identity. And the fact that the advertising companies that made this film have really pushed Dot and Spot as the main characters of this production, when that isn't necessarily the case, just reeks as a cheap way to try and cash in on the fact that they're Dalmatians at a time when the live-action 101 Dalmatians film had literally just come out. I've mentioned the voice acting for Dot and Spot. They're pretty decent. Not award-winning, but decent. It's the rest of the cast that lets this film down. They're all pitched up slightly, and they're just insufferably grating. This is the one thing about this film that I genuinely disliked. They all just drone and screech through their lines, and I think with a bit of a better level of direction, the cast may have worked quite a bit better. Speaking of direction, this film was directed by David Schwartz, and it's his only production credit. What happened to him after this production? We may never know. Dot and Spot's Christmas Adventure was released on DVD in 2006 by Boulevard Entertainment. Boulevard Entertainment's catalogue is one of the single most disorganised lists I've ever seen. Just as a heads up, they're in no particular order or genre, and none of the lists that I've been able to find online are anywhere near what I would consider comprehensive. Their DVD release of this film is sparse to say the least. It has no extras, no DVD menu, not even a scene select. You put the disc in, it plays the main feature, it finishes, and drops you back to your system's menu. That's it. The packaging isn't even really all that well designed either. I don't usually pick up on these kind of things, but this has been slapped together so haphazardly it's a miracle the disc even plays at all. The print itself is okay. I think it might just be a VHS copy put onto a DVD, but I can't 100% confirm that. It's been out of print for a while, and other than an Italian trailer on YouTube, there really doesn't seem to be all that much out there about this film. I don't hate this, but I don't like it either. To me, this probably would have worked best trimmed down to 5-minute snippets played out on a kids' TV channel in between either ad breaks or other television shows. If this film was on in its entirety, I'd probably just skip by it without so much as batting an eye. It's so basic and short, so by the numbers that it just absolutely fails to stand out and define itself in any way. I think if they were aiming to sell this to very young kids, even they might get a bit bored with just how predictable it is. It's a schmaltzy slice of the 90s that certainly has an air of nostalgia about it, even if it isn't my nostalgia. I could understand why someone would like to watch this film every year. It does have its heart in the right place, but it's totally missable. If you've never seen this film, you aren't missing much.